MakingAScene.org brings you the AI copyright fight will be won by whoever has the best records. Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and look at how the latest legal battles are affecting independent artists. Getting your paperwork in order is suddenly the absolute most powerful weapon you have in your arsenal. The music industry is shifting so fast, and honestly, surviving this new era requires a whole lot more than just undeniable talent.
Just to put things into perspective, Sony recently filed a massive lawsuit over 30,000 recordings against Udio. Now, that number alone is enough to make the average indie artist stare at a mystery hard drive in their garage in sheer panic, right? But listen, this isn't just about giant corporations fighting each other. It's a massive wake-up call for independent creators everywhere. Because if the big players are demanding pristine data to prove ownership and fight unauthorized use, you better believe AI companies and licensing agencies are going to expect the exact same thing from you.
So, before we get lost in the dark woods of legal jargon, let's quickly look at our map for this explainer and see exactly which paperwork dragons we're going to slay together. We'll be looking at 1. Owning versus proving it, 2. Mastering your reference files, 3. Splits and chain of title, 4. Stems, lyrics, and backups, 5. Organizing the chaos, and finally, 6. The business of making music. Let's get into it.
Owning versus proving it. The gap between knowing it's yours and showing it's yours. Now, you might automatically own a copyright as soon as you record a song, but actually proving it to a music supervisor or, say, an AI company, yeah, those are two entirely different problems.
I absolutely love this point from MakingAScene.org. They point out that no matter how incredible your emotional 2 a.m. tambourine take is, it's not going to fix missing documentation when a buyer comes knocking. A great track without proof of ownership, that just slows down deals. To a music supervisor or an AI platform on a tight deadline, legal ambiguity literally equals risk. If they can't easily verify you own it, they're just going to move on to the next artist, leaving your money sitting right there on the table.
Think about the contrast between these two forms of tracking. An audio fingerprint is physical, kind of like a vehicle's make, model, and color. It's the unique frequency and rhythm pattern of the actual sound itself. But an ISRC, or International Standard Recording Code, that's the license plate tied to the administrative rights. As an indie artist, you absolutely need both to tell the whole legally binding story when you're defending your work. One tells us what the track is, while the other proves who legally controls it.
All right, Section 2, Mastering Your Reference Files, Escaping the Folder of Endless Final Mixes. Let's talk about the actual audio files. Because investigating a possible AI use turns into a complete scavenger hunt if your folder is just full of files labeled song_real_final_use_v3. Every commercially released track needs a single, verified reference master. Having this ensures you aren't sending 3 slightly different files to a film editor and just hoping one of them is the correct instrumental. Locking down the specific final audio file gives you a definitive, undeniable point of comparison for literally any future licensing or AI infringement issues.
And this really brilliantly illustrates why just saying, hey, I made the record, isn't a complete answer. In music, there are 2 totally distinct copyrights. You have the master recording, which is the specific audio performance you captured in the studio, and then you had the underlying composition, meaning the melody, the lyrics, and the musical structure. You have to know precisely which of these you are legally authorized to license before you sign anything. Just owning the master doesn't automatically grant you control over the composition.
Moving on to Section 3, Splits and Chain of Title. Documenting the human elements of music. The crucial takeaway here is that former bandmates and producers aren't the enemy. But human memory is a terrible witness when money suddenly enters the picture years down the line.
You absolutely must complete a split sheet while the writing session is still fresh. Waiting 5 years for a lucrative sync offer to force everyone to creatively reconstruct old decisions? That is a recipe for disaster. Getting this written down right away sets clear boundaries and prevents collaborative magic from turning into an absolute legal nightmare. MakingAScene.org highlights this classic, heartbreaking line, "But we were all friends." It really reminds us that clear, written agreements actually protect those friendships from the pressure of money. Trust is amazing in the studio, but a written contract ensures that trust doesn't get tested by sudden financial windfalls or unexpected licensing disputes. Now, chain of title sounds like something guarded by a dragon in our storybook, right? But in reality, it's just the paper trail proving you legally acquired all the rights you're trying to sell. It's the full, unbroken history of the asset's ownership from its creation to the present day.
If you don't have this, you're essentially trying to sell a house without having the deed. Let's see how this builds over a career. Rights move over the years, starting from the initial band creation, maybe moving to assign rights to an LLC for business protection. Then you might have a 10-year label license, and eventually a reversion that returns control back to you. Listen, a buyer won't purchase your catalog if there are missing links in this chain. Missing documentation simply turns their confidence into serious financial risk.
Section 4. Stems, lyrics, and backups. Protecting the hidden value in your catalog. So, AI licensing often seeks access to stems, lyrics, or isolated vocal performances. This creates some incredible new revenue opportunities, but also some really significant risks if they aren't properly secured.
Since an AI system can analyze text lyrics totally separate from the master, and because, let's be real, a single hard drive in a flooded garage is not a true backup, you must actively protect these specific assets. This means isolating your stems, which are the individual separated instrument and vocal tracks, and generating file hashes. Hashes are basically unique digital fingerprints that mathematically prove your files haven't been tampered with. Doing this preserves not just the files themselves, but their integrity and commercial context.
All right. Section 5, Organizing the Chaos. Building an artist-controlled catalog system. The good news here, you don't need a corporate legal department or wildly expensive enterprise software to maintain pristine records. You really just need organized folders and a carefully maintained spreadsheet.
When you're breaking down your catalog system, you need to categorize your required data into 3 main buckets: the recording, the composition, and the contributors. For the composition, this includes things like writers, splits, and your PRO data. PRO stands for Performing Rights Organization, like ASCAP or BMI, which tracks and collects your performance royalties. If you have this set up ready to go, you have a massive advantage over artists whose business records are scattered across 10 different old email accounts.
Does anyone remember who owns this? Man, this is the nightmare question you never ever want to ask on a group text with a bassist who left 9 years ago. Especially when an AI company just proposed a lucrative license with a strict deadline. You want to have these answers ready to hand over instantly, not be frantically asking questions when the clock is ticking.
Section 6, The Business of Making Music. Good records help you say yes. Catalog cleanup might look like boring office work, I get it, but it is actually the ultimate tool for artistic independence and empowerment. Being organized gives you a massive competitive advantage. It allows you to instantly respond to requests, claim missing income, and negotiate complex AI deals with total confidence. You get to say yes to these opportunities instead of getting completely bogged down in administrative panic, or worse, missing out completely. The time you spend on organization pays for itself the very moment a licensing deal comes through.
By taking control of the business your music created, you can confidently enter any negotiation, not with outrage, but with undeniable evidence. You get to confidently dictate the terms. This is what we own, this is what you may use, and this is exactly what it will cost.
So when opportunity knocks, will you be searching for a lost hard drive or handing over the keys to a pristine catalog? Make sure you check out the other great articles and resources on makingascene.org, the place the indie artist goes to build the new music industry.